Hi, this is Coach Ryan with VG Sports, and we want to take a look at another coverage here. And what we're going to now look at is cover two. And not just cover two, but cover two man, because there's two different types. We have cover two zone and cover two man. We're going to break these up, and we'll deal with cover two zone later on. Right now, we're going to focus with cover two man. All right, so what's cover two man? Cover two by itself, all right, is two deep coverage. So what you'll have is you'll have both of your outside safeties. Traditionally, you'll have both of your outside safeties dropping in to half zones, meaning they're just going to half up the field, all right? So we're going to take this free safety, we'll drop him out over here and have him half up the field, all right? Take the strong safety over here, drop him, and we're going to have him half up the field. That's normally your cover two, your traditional cover two look, all right? Cover two requires underneath coverage in man-to-man. All right, so if you have two outside receivers, both of your cornerbacks are going to play man-to-man on your outside receivers. Real simple concept, coverage concept. Basically what you're saying, especially at the youth level or even at the high school level, the majority of times that we're using this is we're saying that, hey, we got an athlete on the outside from the other team who's a burner, real fast receiver, and we want to add protection over top. So if these receivers are extremely fast, or we know, and this happens a lot, if you're good on defense, a lot of times what you're going to see as a coach, you'll see your opponent come to the line of scrimmage, hike the ball, and immediately just bomb the ball and have their receivers go run down the field and try to catch it. That's because they don't want to deal with the pressure that they're normally seeing. So I can't stress it enough. You'll see guys come up to the line of scrimmage, hike the ball, and just bomb just right down the sideline. So this protects against that. Our safeties are already normally set 7. I set mine 7 to 12 yards off the field from the line of scrimmage. I've seen some further back than that, but in general, it's 7 to 12 yards. And we're going to have them strong safety outside of the tight end. Free safety can either play. What I normally do is try to have him cheat over a little bit, over top of this, not necessarily over top of the center, but I want him over top of the guard, all right, and I want him looking in so that he can see the action of the quarterback. When I'm saying the action, meaning if this quarterback is dropping into his stance, he's coming out and he's moving that ball for play action, trying to give it to the halfback or the fullback, I want my free safety out there being able to see that. And that doesn't really matter when you're in cover two zone. All right, but I'm just talking about alignment, period. All right, but cover two man with two deep, these guys are just dropping out. All right, so let's get into how we can play that. You can play those regular. You can have your corners sit back because cover two can be played as a zone as well as man. So when you have the zone look out here, more than likely your corners, when we were coming up, or when I was coming up playing, we sat 5 yards off the ball, all right? And that kind of dictated zone coverage. Now you see the fad or the trend that's in the pros, which has trickled down to college, which has trickled down to high school, which has trickled down to little league football, youth football. They have guys sitting 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. That's the zone coverage. If you want to do that while you have them in cover two man, that's totally up to you. That's your choice. But I like to try to set them up in an area where the offense can't tell if they're in man or zone. The less that the offense knows, the better it is for us. We don't want to give any pre-reads away or have them pick up on any tendencies based on our down and distance. That's a key when playing youth football, because even if you don't think you're giving off a tendency, every time that ball is snapped, somebody's jotting down what play you ran. And whether you like it or not, you are creating a tendency. So what you may need to do as a coach as well, outside of us talking about coverage, is make sure you jot down, you have somebody jotting down your play calls so that you can see what you like to go to in pressure situations, what you like to go to after you get a sack, things of that nature. If you're attacking the offense all the time and getting creating havoc behind the line of scrimmage or getting plays behind the line of scrimmage, and every time you do that, you then shoot over to a cover two after that, your opponents are going to start picking up on that, so you got to pay attention to that. But getting back to the coverage, again, this is a cover two zone with two deep safeties, man underneath. And let's just talk about what possibilities you may have, or simple possibility that you might have here. Again, you see that there's a tight end right here. All right, we'll just identify that tight end. So you have a tight end right here, and normally what you'll have is your Sam linebacker, your stud linebacker. All right, and the man-to-man is going to be, these linebackers are going to have to in out. What do we call it? Iowa, which basically I-O-W-A, right? In out. So, and it's really for these two letters. You're playing an in-out technique. So, if this tight end releases, and goes out, the strong safety, the stud linebacker is going to take it. If he comes in, middle linebacker is going to take it. Why is that important? Because if this halfback releases this side, all right, who's going to pick that guy up? The halfback releases over here. We can't have this middle linebacker chasing that halfback, all right? Because if that's what's always going to happen, what happens if they send this halfback in motion? We pull our middle linebacker, a smart offensive coordinator is going to dive you to death with that fullback because you're moving your middle linebacker, all right? Even if you were to rotate him over, and we say we're going to motion him out, if you rotated that Sam linebacker out, again, this area now becomes void, so then I'm going to stretch against you. So it just makes sense to put some time in to developing your coverage, or developing the rules based on your coverage. You have your coverage set, you have your 2 deep. You have your man-to-man on the outside. You have your man-to-man underneath. Now it's up to you and how you want to dictate these routes or dictate the coverage underneath. I like to use the in-out technique. And it simply is, if this guy releases inside, I'm going to have my middle linebacker pick him up. If this guy releases outside, the Sam will stay with him. Halfback comes over, we're going to take that same way this side. In-out doesn't just work on this side of the field, on the strong side of the field. It works on the back side of the field. What does that mean? This halfback runs out this side, more than likely, well, actually, it's not going to work on that back side of the field. If he goes out this side, this will linebacker is automatically going to pick him up. All right? If both backs go to this side, then both linebackers are going to account for both backs. This middle is always going to take care of first thing shown. And he's going to take the widest. All right? So that's the basic rule. So you have 2 defenders over here who could possibly get into a situation if he attacks inside, and that's why we use this in-out technique, because this guy is more of a threat to us downfield because he's already on the line of scrimmage. He can get vertical faster than this halfback can get vertical. So if he gets vertical, or if he goes and then takes off outside, we got to make sure someone follows him. If he goes and takes off inside, we want to have this middle linebacker there to protect against that. So that's your basic cover 2 with a little bit of technique on how I like to defend, or one of the coverages that I like to use with my D-backs with the Frankfurt Chargers. Now, we're not going to give away our keys, but we just let you know a technique that we use. When you see us, we're going to have something special for you. But right now, this just gives you a little bit of an opportunity to get your feet wet, get you to understand your coverage that you have out there, and help your kids out.